1. Anywhere I'm at, turn the city up. I can flip a dollar to $1 million. I don't like to brag, but I'm really on. 3, 2, 1. Anywhere I'm at, turn the city up. 3, 2, 1. I don't like to brag, but I'm really on. It's a new day, days been new. Been a decade since I made it out of rent too. We some owners, baby, we don't got no rent due. Might trick, but my wife, you like to trick too. Merry Christmas, hey, Saint Nick. What we want, get, we on wait list. How we got here doesn't make sense. Have patience, that'll make sense. 3, 2, 1. Anywhere I'm at, turn the city up. I can flip a dollar to $1 million. I don't like to brag, but I'm really on. 3, 2, 1. Anywhere I'm at, turn the city up. 3, 2, 1. I don't like to brag, but I'm really on. Picking up the slack, joining this prime way, I'm getting to the rack. I do what I want, when I want, where I want, no cap. Put in all work, now I'm getting to the back. 25-8, I got money on my mind. Live life great, but I'm always on the grind. Navy blue tank, I don't wear it for the time. Real hustler, baby, throw my rollie in the sky.
Get ready for blast off.
Ball pointing cushy, so you know it's berserk. Trevor on the mix, so you know we gon' work. I might leave in wine, find a beach and go surf. I'ma ride the wave till I'm out of this earth. 3, 2, 1. Anywhere I'm at, turn the city up.
I'm back in my bag, yo. Conscious. ISO. Diamond. Back in my bag and I gotta brag, I do this shit for real. When we was down and we had nothing, we had to share a meal. We put the shit in overdrive with no steering wheel. Shorty throw that thing back in a pair of heels. Yeah, she be riding on that thing like a Ferris wheel. Yeah, I love them dark skin, brown skin, caramel. You know I had to bring it to the hood like she Karen Civil when she keep on turning head. Cause when she walk that thing jiggle, jiggle. And we going back to back on them like we Huey and we Riley. This that back in my back flow, we back again so highly. This that back in my back flow, we back to change the climate. This that back in my back flow, we bring the force like Tommy. Back in my back flow. Back in my, yeah, back in my bag, yeah. I'm back in my, yeah, I'm back in my bag, yeah. I'm back in my, this my, back in my bag flow. Back again, yeah, we keep on stacking it, what's happening? Everything in Gucci got me feeling like I'm dapper then. Life has been a movie, yeah, so shout out to the cameraman. Pull up to the scene, it's going down like an avalanche. Steady going up like a travel plan. Homer Simpson face, lucky power plant. Yeah, I'm off that dope, like I'm back again to Vizzy at the Millies. I don't club hers, give the word if it's a cinch, Lord forgive me. Still having motion, dog, so why would I slow it? Make it rain on them, bust a band, then you throw it. We was steady having it, even at our lowest. High speed road runner, keep my motor going. Hey, people feel away, but they don't show it. Gotta watch the people that's around you, that you grow it. They be coming around you with some plans to steal your moment. Soon as I bust a nut, she be like, baby, where you going? Never slowing down, it's enough to go around. Yeah, you probably knew it's then, but really you don't know it's now. Niggas let it show and tell, but all my niggas know me well. It was either chase a dream or go to jail, but none of us ain't going. Going back to back on them like we Huey and we Riley. This that back in my back flow, we back again so highly. This that back in my back flow, we back to change the climb.
Yeah. You vibes in the word. What a wait. Late night creeps where the shadows grin. Juvons in the cut, let the games begin. With a flick of the blade, we dive in the sin. It's a marathon groove, not a race to win. The clock don't sleep, the knives don't pause. Chasing thrills, no time for applause. The world spins mad on Juvon's claws, where the edge cuts deep in the night's great jaws. Sit and spin under the neon glow. Wide awake where the insomniacs go. Feel the steel flash, let the adrenaline flow. Juvon's night flicks, it's the live late show. It's the live late show. Right. It's the live late show.
I went out because we only had a little bit, but are you high on cigarettes? And when that stuff runs out, you're gonna wanna make it. Are you high on cigarettes?
Let's watch Juvon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Juvon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Juvon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Juvon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Do you know that you're right or wrong? 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 He don't smoke 'em, but he loves it when you do. That's why he's high on cigarettes. And if you find him, you should light him.
Harvey, want anything special for your birthday?
Just a decent cup of coffee.
You're kidding.
I'm serious. Honey, your coffee's undrinkable.
It's pretty harsh.
Well, so's your coffee. You know, the girls down at the office make better coffee on their hot plates. Well, see you later.
And he didn't even kiss me goodbye. You know, if I could just make a decent cup of coffee, I could relax. So, relax.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
What is up, guys? I hope y'all can hear me. I hope y'all can see me. I hope everybody's doing well. Neil McKenzie, you are the man, brother. Thank you. Quick man hug. Happy late Tuesday night. Started a little early tonight. I noticed that some other lives had stopped earlier, so I figured, what the heck? We jump in here because I know a lot of y'all have normal schedules, unlike me. But I'm here for the duration. Be shady. Channel members in the house earlier, as was Marco, channel member. Rip Ozzy. Absolutely. Dude, talk about timing. Kathleen Smith, channel member. What is up? What is up? Yeah, I thought a lot about that today. That's just the timing of it, the essence of it, all of it's just surreal. But anyway, Brother Paul Mills, channel member, what is up? We got Henry G, channel members in the house. You guys are here early. Chris229 is in the house. What is up, brother? Sobek Scooter, Scotty, what is up, my friend? Good to see you, brother. Good to see all you guys, gals, and other. Anybody is welcome in Javon's Knife Flicks. Mister, good to see you, my friend. We will sit here. We will talk about knives. We can chat about lives. We can chat about really whatever's on your mind. I don't have a huge agenda, not a lot going on, which is always apt to change. You know, I'll let you guys on Tuesday nights drive that. But did have some cool stuff that I wanted to talk about and at some point show you guys. But I'm in no rush to do that. Right now I need to get Tippy from jumping on my table over here. So as you guys will see, it will probably be hectic here sooner than later as she gets settled in, because she is all over the place right now. But I did want to show you guys a couple of cool things that I saw one of Tristate's videos today, where he was showing off the new TRM Bulldog that has the enlarged blade hole. So what they've basically done is listen to, like they do, customer feedback, and where some people wanted a larger, fuller or blade hole, they went ahead and they did that. So they have now upgraded for the Bulldogs from the smaller blade hole to a larger blade hole. So I'm actually sending this one back in to get a blade swap so I can show. I don't know if you're going to have a choice to go to an original hole or even why you would want to, or have the longer hole, which without me having it here, if you can see where that little TRM logo is, that's kind of what the elongated hole looks like. I noticed it for the first time and experienced it at blade shows. So it enables you to put your finger anywhere that your finger lands and easily be able to access the hole. Where I have to think about it on the Bulldog, not that it's ever been a problem to me because I've been a TRM guy forever, who the nerd, when it came out, the holy nerd, I kind of knew where to go, where to reach for my hole, so to speak, lack of better term. But anyway, they are making a bigger, or they have made a bigger version of this. I don't know if it's on the website. We're going to go check in just a second. But I will be sending this back off next week or this week, late this week, to have a blade put back on it. Let me put Three Rivers Manufacturing, and we can always go to Tristate's video, because if y'all didn't see it today, he had the new Bulldog blade hole shown. So let's see, let me go to Bulldog. Yes. So when I share this screen here with you guys, you will notice on both of these, the blade hole is much more pronounced and it goes down much longer, or however you want to call that. I would call it longer, into the blade than the shorter little blade hole did. It just kind of followed the little TRM logo that they'd always had up at the top. So anyway, that is the new version of the Bulldog, both in the G10 and or the titanium. You can choose, if I'm not mistaken, I know you could choose 20 CV or Magna Cut, and there was not a price difference there. They do come on bearings. I love this knife as it was, and this hole does make it, I will say, even though it takes the look and makes it, for me, somebody who's a purist who liked the smaller hole, the way it looked, I think this works better, and it's definitely a cool option, and it's cool that they're listening to what people want and kind of taking that into shape. Scotty, is there no TRM logo even on the back? Let's look at that. Yeah, it's just got the TRM USA, which is not the same. The logo is gone. Now the name sake remains the same on the back, and it is printed just without the logo. But personally, I did not have a problem with the smaller hole. Now, the fact that they've gone with a larger hole, I think that's great. So TRM USA used to be a little Three Rivers Manufacturing. I loved it. I was the guy who liked the old nerd before they put the hole in the nerd. Even though the reason they put the hole in the nerd is because so many people were modding their nerds and sending TRM pictures, and TRM was going, gosh, we need to probably be doing this for our customers. You picked up a longer hole one, Scotty? I did not pick up a longer hole one. I did pick up a tag-along, and I'm glad to say that the tag-alongs that are either back in stock or coming back in stock are going to be done in Magna Cut. Where mine was, I don't even remember what the steel was because I can't find it on their website. It was this PSL something. It was some spray formed version of D2. Everything I read about it was kind of like D2, but better. I mean, it's USA made, but Scotty probably knows better than me. What was that called? What was the tag along made out of? PSB. I think Richard is absolutely right. PSB 227 or PSB something. I remember it had 3 numbers at the end of it. But yes, very cool what TRM's doing, and the fact that they do, why they're my favorite company for a lot of reasons. One is I love slicing knives. 2 is they're very, very kind, generous people that have reached out and helped countless people in the community that didn't ask for their help. And they don't ever go around looking for that type of accolades. They just do things that are above and beyond, and they listen to their clients. So at Blade Show, I went by their booth several times because I consider myself to be just a fortunate partner of theirs to kind of throw things back and forth with them. And the fact that they do that, I find an honor, and like to just spend time over there and to hear them talk about what the feedback they were getting on the frame lock nerd, what they were getting on the bigger hole, because they had both of them there. And the fact that they were pivoting from everything that they were gathering at Blade Show, all that data, where it takes bigger companies, and this is just me kind of surmising, but to make changes, TRM was actually able to do that there. And it made a difference. I think it got the people what they wanted. They've always been a small batch manufacturer. And then if you look at, for example, what a USA made Bulldog and G10 contoured handles cost with MagnaCut or 20 CV, depending on what you like, for under $250. PSB 27, thank you, brother. That was the first run, and that's what I have, but I do not think it's marked anywhere on my blade because I looked for it, and I had to go back to my earlier videos, because my earlier videos, I was able to go back to their website and quote what they had on their website because they talked about it. And then from that, I was able to go research what that steel actually was. But anyway, it was Les's baby. I think he did a good job on it. I enjoy that knife. I carry it quite a bit. The one I carried the most, I don't have out here right now, but it is that little Bulldog from Lucky Dog Knife Company. That little 4 3/4 inch, looks like a roofing knife. I think Richard bought one. It's the knife that I keep in my back pocket most days, and I don't have anything in my back pocket today. All I'm carrying is just my little Microtech. Haven't been doing much. It's been raining. Took my dad to the doctor today, so it's kind of been a low-key day. Did have some really cool knives come in that I've been stoked and am very stoked to check out. They're beefier knives than I'm normally exposed to, but they're USA-made knives, so I'm very interested in them. They're rifes. I've kind of been an affiliate partner, but I've kind of lost a lot of my affiliate relationships because we'll go without saying it had nothing to do with the affiliate relationships. It was just the platform that I was using to access those relationships is no longer available for me. But needless to say, I always liked Rife and always wanted to work with them because I appreciated the fact that they did overbuilt. These are the two smaller knives that they do, but usually overbuilt, bushcrafting, outdoorsy type of knives that are just on the edge of really what I'm comfortable even knowing about. But when they came out with this little F3 last year at Blade Show, or this past year, and I actually came out a little bit before Blade Show, which is a small little knife. I want to say it's under 7 inches, but it's full handle, MagnaCut, really nice, hard use, more of a bushcraft knife than a slicer knife. When I say a slicer, I've got one coming. It's going to be very slicey. But I've really enjoyed these knives. I haven't had a chance to quote unquote test them, and I won't quote unquote test them like people like Stasa would or Erica would. I will sharpen them. I will cut through a bunch of stuff with them. Most importantly, I'll carry them because I'm curious how they carry as secondary carries. Scotty, mine, yeah, your guys might be MagnaCut. I know mine was the first run because I picked mine up and it was that same material that they ran their first run with. Less than I even talked about that. And he felt like they were going to go something different. That is a great question. And it's something that for me, just so you guys know, it's a little odd, but these will accept neutron scales. So I put other scales on the show side. even though it doesn't make sense. I just happen to have a couple. But this is the coarse G10, and I'm really a fan of this because this is the side that it goes against your pocket smooth. I personally like the thinness. I'm a reverse flicker guy. I'm not a slow roller or thumb flicker guy, but I love the liner lock. I prefer the frame lock personally, but which would I pay for? I don't think you necessarily are gaining. I'd have to do a more of a value analysis because both of mine are titanium. So I'd be looking at mine as both titanium, a titanium liner lock versus a titanium frame lock. There's no downside for me to the liner lock. And I was always very, very satisfied with the liner lock. I personally like the frame lock because I'm kind of like you are, Scotty. I'm a TRM, thanks to you, kind of elitist. I love it. So I always want to try their newer stuff. But this is a hard knife to beat, in my opinion. The Neutron 2. Whoops. And it's rugged as the day is long because it's on bearings. Not bearings, it's on washers. This is on bearings. This is on skiffs, actually. But I'm a big fan of the frame lock Neutron. And if you're looking for a USA made knife that's not overbuilt, that's not a Hinder, not a even an SPK, it's not your basic overbuilt knife. This is, to me, what I consider a cutter's finesse knife. I think it's just the perfect EDC knife for someone like me who cuts open packages most of the time. It's just a winner. Big fan. They will have a third batch coming. I don't know. I didn't know that it already sold out. But just so you guys know, they are a small batch manufacturer, which is a good thing because that means they always have something else coming. Let's check the website and see if they say anything. I'm sure y'all have already done that. Let's go to tagalongs. Out of stock. Batch 2 sold out. Yeah, I can reach out to them tomorrow, but I would bet within the next 14 days, probably shorter than that. I would keep an eye on what I always tell people, and what I did and still do is I watch the website. For one, on Fridays, they used to put stuff in a garage sale that were just normal knives that they had left over. I don't know if they still do that. But just watch the site. You know, it's one of those that it's not as hard as you have to get in a lottery or do anything like that. You just have to be on the lookout, or go to somewhere like River's Edge Cutlery, or I think DLT carries them. There are a lot of retailers that carry TRM. But if you want to get them from the source, like I like to, follow them on Instagram and grab them off their website. They are very accommodating, very good people. I got a couple of interesting Kaisers in. I want to make sure I talk to you guys about at some point. What's up, Jesse? Good to see you, brother. Welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday, Insomniac Sit and Spin. So one of the Kaisers that they sent me is called, I want to say, the Hidden Agenda, and I might be saying that wrong. I'll pull it up in just a second. But it is a little Lundquist. I was trying to read the name. Jacob Lundquist collaboration. It's an actual dual-sided, so it cuts on both sides. Little dagger. in AEBL steel. Gonna come in under $70. What's up, Maddie? He's gonna get a man hug, dude. Thank you, brother. I know it drives people crazy. Thank you, brother. Thank you. But this little guy is it what I normally carry in a knife? No. But if I was at 7-Eleven and somebody was coming sneaking and I felt like I might have to leave them leaking, this is a very nice knife for that, I would think. Not that I would know because I don't use knives for that. The other knife's a totally different. Richard, it is, I don't celebrate, but I've made another celestial lap around the sun. That's just a fact. I don't know what that was. I just heard a trumpeting horn. But this is a Kaiser Polaris. And I don't know. I've tried to research that. That is something stylistic. It's a chisel ground knife. So it's made to be a bushcrafter's knife. This is still a mystery to me. Before I do a full review, I've got to figure out more about what's going on here. I know that this is something that's for centuries they did in these type of knives to do weight relief and other things. I don't know what the purpose is in this knife, because you can buy this knife with a solid back or looks like it's been chewed out by a beaver. But it's a full grip knife. Fantastic jimping. It's going to be a chisel grind. Any way you look at it, a chisel, I guess, saber grind. Comes with a little diamond sharpener because it's designed to be field dress, or so you can use it in the field to carry it. It's interesting. I haven't beaten on it much, but I'm kind of curious to see how it takes, if the edge rolls, because I've talked to Kyle about it and he'll join us in a little while. He talks about there's nothing to it, but I wouldn't even know where to go to sharpen this. I guess you would take the beveled edge and run it against that and then just strop off your back, but I don't know. But anyway, I don't know if you'd ever need to do that, because this is also Azo design. It's AEBL. Comes in a couple of other blade steels, but very unique knife. It's called the Polaris, and it's like $72. Happy early birthday, Kathleen. Sweet. Congratulations. Man, a lot of people had new knife days. Who did I talk to today? My buddy A to Z, I've got a knife review that I've kind of been holding off on, but he's got a Dixon that came in that's super, super nice. I'd actually experienced one because Ryan Ellis picked up one at Blade Show when I was with him. I got to experience picking one up. But that is a great knife. I'm a big fan of the McNees Mac 2, which is their 3 1/4 inch knife. So for me, you would think a 3 3/4 inch knife called the Dixon would be much larger than something I would normally want to carry, but it's not. I mean, it's very ergonomical. It's got rounded handles, fits in the pocket very well, and it's got a big ass blade. It's also got a perfectly, what I consider, engineered triangular blade hole that makes wherever you put your finger in it, you go to the highest point of the blade, and it just makes for a really crisp deployment. This knife, FYI, is on washers, not on bearings. I put this on skiff, thick washers, and it is an absolute killer. I don't know if I'll ever put it back on bearings. I've got the bearings that came out of it, which were skiffs. Originally, it had the McNees bearings, which were stainless, like Hinders. I think a lot of more companies now are starting to use skiff I don't know if they're better, but I like a phosphorus bronze and a ceramic bearing. So I swap them out. And the other thing that I've been very impressed with, and I won't talk any more knife stuff, but it's this little knife right here. This is smaller than I would have thought, but this is the Kaiser Aza, A-S-A. I don't know how to pronounce that. Aza or Aza or Aza. I don't know how that first A or the last A is silent. It's a vowel for us, but this one's kind of more of along the bougie line, I guess you'd call it, because it has titanium handles and it's got this inlay that's called purple snowflake Damascus. So I don't know what that actual material is, but it reminds me of, if you guys have seen the strength that came out with the crystallized titanium that has been kind of made popular by Tuya. You see them in a lot of Tuya knives, that crystallized titanium. That's kind of what I feel like this snowflake, or they call it Arctic snowflake titanium. But it's very similar. It looks like something that's a very unique material. I think we'll see more of it. The blade's in S45, which I've not tested it. I've not sharpened it. I've just cut with it, but I will be sharpening it. And I'm sure it's not, USA S45, but it's nice they're using S45. I've noticed that on some of these knives, they're also using crew wear. So, a couple of cool steels from Kaiser in that knife. A, it's a very cool knife, and B, it's available in at least 2 cool steels, crew wear and S45, and it may be available in more. Let's take a peek at it real quick, shall we? Y'all stop me if we have other plans. It's hard for me to be stopped, though, when I'm not looking at the chat. So I'm kind of at the mercy of myself, which is scary. So let's look at Kaiser's changed their website since I was there earlier today. New arrivals. So S45. Right, this is showing it just S45. But I know S45. I saw a combination somewhere. Maybe I made it up. That I thought was crew wear, but I'm not seeing it on here. And I'm not sharing it with you guys, so you don't have to see the frustration as I click through it. But I thought that there was a version that said Stevie. Thank you, brother. Mexican pizza on you, brother. Do not tempt me. I'm trying to live healthier, but I got to give you a man hug. I did go Friday night, or either past Friday night or the Friday night 2 Friday nights ago. It put me in a sleepy mode and made me miss said faction. But that's all we got.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
I'm telling you, I remember that Yo quiero Taco Bell. And it will call you. What is up, Stevie? Good to see you, brother, and thank you again, my man. Edward Cheeto Hands is in the house. What is up, brother? Good to see everybody. on an early, I guess we call it an early Insomniacs live. I didn't click on Tristate, but was he live from the river? I noticed he was live for a couple hours, and it wasn't his normal backdrop. Let me just look instead of asking stupid questions. Let's just go and look. Tristate EC. Live. Y'all might have seen this. I did not see it earlier, so I'm going to share it for just a second. We're going to see what his... I hate an ad. I'm going to hold that against you, Cole.
This way. Why are we this? We're not supposed to be this way. Oh, God.
All right, I lost interest. So that's where Cole was. He was lakeside.
What's up?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Good. How we doing?
I was just looking to see why Tristate was so short on his live, and it looks like he was on location.
On location where?
It looked like it was next to a river. He was sideways on his camera, so I only lasted for, what was that, guys? 5 seconds? That was quick. It was very quick. Here, we'll go back to it. I didn't give it a fair enough shake. Let me go back and share it, bud. Because he might have been telling us more of the story when he was trying to turn sideways.
God. Okay. Okay, fine. Wasn't supposed to be this. It wasn't supposed to be like this. It wasn't meant to be this way. Where's the chat? I don't know where anything is.
I can't handle the voice, and I know his voice because I've stayed with him, love him to death. But go watch him. That's why he was short. I guess he was on location. Live from the swamp. Yeah, I wonder though, on a Tuesday night, I wonder what you would be. Is that a work-related camping trip? I don't think I'd be out.
That's just down. That's his parents' river house.
Ah.
Well,
so it's just a lake.
It's a trailer and a boat on the lake.
Which is better than
not lake. I'm sorry,
a house
river.
Across from the cemetery.
What's up, guys? How we doing, Richard, Scooter, Mills,
Roman in.
Be shady. Did I hear that correctly earlier? It's a 1 extra year for you, sir.
Yeah, dude. I don't celebrate anything after I turn 21, but yeah, I'm successfully, if I make it another, what's that? An hour and 11 minutes, I'll have made it another year, dude. I will officially be a 58-year-old.
Well, happy early birthday. You don't look a day over 70.
Well, I'm actually gonna, if I survive the rest of the day, I will have survived as my first day of a 58-year-old.
Very nice.
Which is, yeah. I mean, I'm thinking that would be an event itself. And it was kind of ironic because I spent all day. What's up, TacticalTerry? I spent all day with my dad at his annual physical, which was just a nightmare, dude. Because his doctor always talks to me like I'm his caregiver at the end of the appointment. And so I've got to have some conversations with my brother about what to do with him. Because I mean, he wants to stay where he is, you know. And this doctor's like, you know, he doesn't need to be staying at home. I'm like, why? You know, what is he showing you that? Well, he doesn't know where he is. Well, should he not know where he is at his 4,000 square foot house, or should he be at some stranger's house? What's the point?
I guess it comes down to whether or not he's a danger to himself or others.
Right, and he's not the way. I mean, he was asking me, is he a fall risk? I said, he's a fall risk anyway. He fell when he was at assisted living more than he's ever fallen at home the 6 years since we've had him home, right? Because we've been kind of responsible for his care. But it's a hard decision, you know, and it's one of those things. It would be easier on my brother and I if we could make that decision for him. But hell, he still says, you know, I don't want to go hang out somewhere like that.
All right.
And he's been there, you know, up until COVID, we had him settled in. That's the whole thing about people with dementia. If you can get them settled on a new like path, it's a lot easier for them not to have change in their life. So he was settled at being in a retirement home. And then we had the whole COVID thing where we had to take him out or leave him out there to, you know, pretty much die if you listen to the media. And he stayed home ever since. We took his car and had to do a lot of shit like that where he couldn't be a harm to anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he's not like, you know, escaping and trying to drive away, then there's.
Yeah, he has no access to any PPUs and he has no car in his driveway anymore. I did catch him walking around the neighborhood once in a row, but that was because he was trying to redeliver a neighbor's package, which was, I told him was unexcusable. He didn't need to worry about that.
What's up, everyone? I miss Joe.
Joe Isabella.
Cheeto. B Shady. Maddie. Who else did I miss? Jesse, Rob, Ed.
So I sent a bunch of people a net if they want to jump on at any point. I don't have anything of agenda. I just emailed Kaiser and submitted a large fixed blade design. Dude, that is awesome.
Best of luck, Terry.
Terry, they're doing the two knives that I got in from them that are fixed blades could not be more polar opposite. The Polaris is an Azo design, but I don't see anything about it being an Azo design or an Azo design. And then the little dagger is a Justin Lundquist, which I don't see anything Justin Lundquist about that. Do you?
Yeah, that's definitely his designs.
Is it the handle, or I mean, why do I think of him more of a folder guy?
You're thinking of the other Lundquist. You're thinking of Jacob.
Jacob Lundquist. Okay, so
that's Jacob Lundquist is Quist or whatever you say it.
Right. It makes Justin, the folder and the slip joint.
Yeah, that's not the same guy.
Okay, so does this guy not make folders? He makes.
That's a different designer completely. Yeah. So that guy, he's known, like he actually has a Wii Civivi, one that looked like that, but it's a much smaller already.
I remember that little bitty knife that Wii and Civivi had that texture on the front. It was like a little neck knife.
Yeah, that was his design as well too.
Okay, well it looks like that. It kind of looks like a smaller version of that. But that's an interesting knife, and it was an interesting steel choice because they show it when you go to their marketing pages about them cutting with both sides of the blade. You know, it's AEBL, and they show them on a campsite cutting through paracords with both sides, which to me, it's not what it's designed for with the grind.
Yeah, I think it's stupid, but whatever.
But it's what they show, right?
No, man, just meant the knife in general, but whatever works for him.
No doubt.
To me, I think it's a poor design, but hey.
And it'll be only time will tell what is dibs on the hidden agenda. Do you like it, Maddie? Or is it dibs out on if you like the hidden agenda? Yeah, Justin Lundquist made the feast. That's the same guy, right? Or is that okay? Yeah, because I've got that. I had all those knives. Those were some of my favorite Kaiser knives that I collected before I gave them away. He made the Feist, and what was the other one?
I don't know all the names of them, but yeah, he's done other designs. But yeah, that's definitely a different designer.
Yeah, I can't keep them all the same. I mean, I can't keep them all separate. Nice, Maddie.
Maddie, just tell them to send you an extra one when they send you a Orion.
Yeah, shoot an email to Emily. She's been the sweetest. I'm getting ready to send. I think I'm gonna let ChatGPT send an email to Vosteed.
Why?
Just a Javon email, just to play another side of the fence.
Let me send him an email.
No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna let it. I'm trying to decide exactly how to. And I think I want to let ChatGPT word it and see what I think about it, then edit it. And
you don't want me writing it.
No, believe me. I think you will be surprised at the alignment of our thought pattern. Even though I think you is a fantastic individual, and I think a lot of what they're trying to do is probably cool. I'm just, it's hard for me to get behind and support something if I can't test it out. If I'm looking at the same old corgi,
I
I'm
just
not.
meant you didn't want me running with your name on it because it wouldn't be a nice email.
Oh, dude, it's not going to be nice. It's going to be a DM. It's not going to be an email. It's going to be a DM because I've got a contact over there, and I get the same response from her. And they're always like, we'll check on the warehouse. And I'm not looking for anything at all. I mean, that's the last thing I want. I would just like to see what you're offering before I send somebody to your site or to Instagram or Amazon to buy something. I used to know the raccoon was a great knife. I just haven't had a lot of experience with them, except for what I've seen at Blade Show, and that's not enough.
Yeah. Hey, Maddie, go choke on a wiener, and that is pun intended.
With mustard, of course.
Yeah, I'll put mustard on it.
Hey, you got to have some mustard. Sweet. I'm just getting caught up. I've been not paying attention to the chat. What's up, Bama fan?
Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate that.
Help me navigate, my brother.
What you need?
Just I'm not missing anybody in the chat. I'm trying to make sure I'm saying hey to everybody like Richard. And I think I said hey to just about everybody when we started in. People slip in and I forget about them, and I don't want them to think that I'm ignoring them when I'm looking behind the scenes for a Kaiser knife that doesn't exist.
No. What's up, Mick?
Dude, I could have sworn I saw that area in Crewwear. I don't know why. Hold on. There it is in Purple Snowflake. S45. Here it is in Crewwear. All right. So I did not lose my mind. So I'm going to share it now. Because I was literally, and it didn't surprise me that I'd lost my mind. I just thought I'd confused a couple of knives again.
You lost me.
Well, this area that is a knife that they sent me that I've been impressed with. It's smaller than I thought. And the one they sent me is an S45. And it's in this stuff called, this is kind of like that. I call it like that crystallized carbon, right? Or crystallized carbon fiber. I mean, they call it different stuff. It's some kind of Damascus. But it was S45. And this one, or this variation, is in their version of Crewwear, which I find it will be interesting to see when people get those, how they perform, right? Because you've got Crewwear, and I've got one that's...
Go back to that real quick.
I've got one that's the exact same knife in S45.
Go down to the specs on it.
Have I passed the specs?
I want to see what they say about the Crewwear.
All right, CPM Crewwear, diamond light carbon coating. That's just marketing shit, right? But they do show the CPM right here by the wearability chart. Can you see that?
That's
Am I sharing that?
Yeah, that's solely off of.
That's marketing. I know. I'm just trying to see what they say about it.
Do they have an HRC range?
Well, I'm about to get down to that. I was just saying if they had anything here in the. So it just says CPM Crewwear, hand brush DLC, but no, it does not have a.
Yeah, hardness 6. Does that say 61? I can't read that.
Where do you see that?
Very bottom.
Oh yeah, 63 to 65.
Okay.
Is what they say the Crewwear is. Now, if we go to the S45, not that you are asking that, but the S45 they have between a 60 and 61.
I would put significant money on the fact that that is not CPM Crewwear, and that's not a horrible range for production value of Crewwear.
On S45 or on Crewwear?
On Crewwear. S45, that's okay. It may be just a tiny bit low, but not by much.
Isn't S45 more forgiving or has a more susceptible range?
It's you're not running S45 as hard as you are at some other steels, but that Crewwear is not a bad range if that's actually somewhat accurate, but it's not going to make a difference because it's not actual Crewwear.
But would the CPM not be when we talk about copy versus
Yeah, but what do
wouldn't
they care?
CPM, isn't that taking the name? Isn't that
That's taking
for
the name
us
from
as a
Crucible, but
consumer to think
Crucible's
that
yeah, but Crucible's not around. So I mean,
no, so as a consumer, I'm just thinking as a consumer, what am I to think, right? I
oh yeah,
mean,
it's definitely misleading. But they've
are
been
we
doing
just
that for a
kind of in a
while.
not know who's to know kind of scenario? Or I mean, we can assume, of course, that it's not going to be, but
I do not see any way that they would be buying it and paying
no,
shipped over there.
I can't. I can't either. I mean, we've talked about this when it comes to any steel being sold to China and then manufactured and sold back to us, right? Now, could they be making it to a great HRC that's going to wear just as well? It hasn't been seen, but maybe because it hasn't been tested in a while.
That's why I said I'd be interested to see what it shows up like, but it's not going to be what you think it is. Now,
Yeah, and like I said, I'm willing to. I've got one I donate to science, and I'm sure there are plenty of other people that would just like to see. And I don't know what, like, if you were going to look at crew wear, would you compare that to Benchmade's crew wear? What would you compare that to Spyderco's crew wear? Where would you even go for a baseline?
Baseline, you put it up against another production company. You can't put it up against custom because that's unfair. Because so like say your Lamia or one of Shane's crew wears or anything like that, you can't put up against that because that'd be, even if it was, that'd be an unfair advantage.
Right. So this would have to be a larger batch type of.
Correct. So like the Adamas was made in crew wear. You could do it and you can test against that.
Because you've got a large enough batch.
Correct. And I'm sure I would be surprised that the Benchmade's taking it above 63, honestly. So that would be a more apt comparison. How do I want to phrase it? The hindrance of testing that would be the fact I've not seen one compete from over there. That tells you that even if it shows up as spectrometer wise the same steel, it's not, because it's not comparing as far as their actual performance.
And we have to assume, and I'm saying this, I'm guessing, we have to assume that since we're talking about knife steels, that they're looking at it strictly as a knife steel performance type of variable, right? So they're not, it seems like they would want to have those type of tests unless they're doing it for a larger application and it's just a knife as a byproduct of it, which it doesn't seem to be the case.
If you're talking about the overseas, that's solely for marketing. They're just seeing what's in the community, what people want, and they're saying, okay, hey, people like this steel, they like these numbers, let's just put this together. So I'm not saying that they're not trying, and I'm not going against that. Is it better than your average $12 8CR? Absolutely. But it's not what it's advertised as. That's all.
Right. Right. I just don't know who at this stage with Crucible being out of the game, and you've got people, you've got independent testers that we all trust, right? But who's actually doing the type of testing on an industry basis? And I guess you have to look at a Benchmade versus a larger batch Kaiser that's hitting those same type of numbers to see if their steels are even going to compete.
Yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, that's the only fair way to do it. You can't do it as custom versus you can't do a custom versus a production, because that's just unfair. That's not a reasonable comparison as far as how they're treated, because it's small batch, it's individually done,
right?
Better tolerances.
And this is just coming from a layman's point of view, but if we think about technology getting where things are more, you would think, easier to have a control base, right? Because of technology, that you would think that the steel at least would measure the same. So would there not be, and it makes sense if they're just testing what the market will bear, if there's not some science on the other end, like there is in terms of determining what's going to be popular in the first place. It seems to me that any competing company would have a advantage of showing that there's actually performs. But maybe I put too much thought into that.
I think you're putting more thought into what I don't think a lot of people, when they start pumping out some of these more advanced super steels, they are doing it more for name alone and marketing recognition than they are for the person looking for performance.
But it always comes down to performance. That's where I'm wondering.
Yes and no, because okay, we've always talked about this. Unless the very small percentage of people who are getting those super steels are actually pushing them to the limits anyways.
Correct.
So most of them are getting it because it says it's better. So
and we like it because it says it's better, and we've got it in our collection because it has a better place in our minds.
So again, going back to that, it's more of a marketing tactic than anything. That's how overseas gets away with it. It's because the very few people test it, and the ones that do are actually ones that call it out.
But it just seems to me
because it's never performed.
But it would seem to me if you had the equilibrium of technology and of a forge that you would think would operate at or better than what we're able to operate here, that we could come up, we being they could come up with a solution to say, hey, our steels are going to perform at or better than what you're able to perform at because we've looked at these tests and look, see? I mean, it just seems to me that they'd want to show that, and it wouldn't be that they wouldn't be able to, because technology, I think, goes where the technology goes, right?
Javon, and I'm not trying to be mean about this, but
no, I'm just
when it comes down to it, it's a numbers game. It's about margins. It's about money. They don't really care what the end result is. They want you to buy more product, period.
Correct. But the market is always keeping the market in check, right? Allegedly.
Not for, it's gotten to the point where now when you have the promotion and the marketing the way you do, it's all about hype and all about what's new. It's not about what's
mine's better than what you're going to be able to get from company B.
You go back 15, 20 years, you had way less models, and it was about either you bought something that was high end or you bought something that was low end. You didn't have 38 knives coming out each week from different companies. You weren't trying to keep up with people, right?
Right.
Now it's just a numbers game. They don't care. They just want to move product. And whether it comes down to if it performs or not, they're going to get it as close as they can, but they're not going to spend the money to do it 100% or even better.
Right, because it's all just, I guess if you...
What's up, Ellis? What's up, Blaze?
They're looking what's going to sell and then what they're going to be warrantying and how it's all going to shake out, and it's going to change before anybody makes any, I guess, comparable change anyway.
It's how many units can you push and how fast can you sell them before you get the next new product comes out.
And you're not stuck holding a bunch of stock.
Correct. And it's a lot of times it's throw stuff up against a wall, see what sticks. And the things that stick, they just beat them to death, like the sheepdog or
you got to build the hype to move the inventory that you got.
Correct. Yeah, it's not about, are there some hidden gems? Absolutely. There are some examples out there that are completely abnormal and that are fantastic. But you can't base it off of just the few abnormalities.
No, there's still, like you say, there being revolutions made in the marketplace with design and stuff like that, but it's not as much as we'd be aimed to believe when you look at everything that's coming out every month.
But have we truly innovated that much?
Probably not. I'm going to guess. Well, I mean, if you look at some lock styles, I would guess over 5 years, have we? I'm thinking when I got into the community, which was probably longer ago than that, 6 or 7 years ago.
Outside of Brian Winters, there's not much new that's come out.
No, that Trex lock, that weird lock that's on the pivot that I forget who did first. It was a USA made thing. You know, the pivot lock that I'm talking about?
But that's more of a that's kind of a take on a compression lock in a way.
But it's innovation. You got, I mean,
it's I'm not saying it's not. It's definitely different enough, but it's not revolutionary. It's not going to change, or everything's going to be moving to that.
No, that's true. What's been interesting to me is how much has moved to bar locks and why.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Sure it's a cost thing, and it's easy to get them where a lot of people can operate them. They're ambidextrous. I can see why the market would.
Yeah, I mean, so there are pros and cons, everything. So like a bar lock is strong. I'm never going to knock and say that a bar lock is crap. I don't like them personally because I don't like the feel of a sloppy detent. And there are very, very few that I've ever come across that actually have a strong or what feels like a strong detent, because it's not technically a detent, but
because of the way that the locking mechanism is set up to give you that detent feel.
Correct. So there are a few, but the few that I've tested that I felt that way about were customs. They weren't, off the shelf. So for me, I'm not a fan of them, but everyone has their preferences, and that's cool. That's what's a good thing about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I do think that there's
as many as I can, Paul.
I guess more models, you see more models becoming bar locks is what I see, as an industry. I see more, like almost every knife that's been offered as a frame lock or another type of locking mechanism is being offered up as a bar lock.
And see, we're going back to preferences, which is cool because, like, I know now the big thing is everyone wants holes and everyone wants studs. I don't mind I actually like a top flipper if it's done well. Like, that doesn't bother me at all. I prefer some flippers over studs depending upon how the detent's done. Because I like a stronger detent, and if it's thumb stud, sometimes it makes it a little more difficult. But I don't dislike studs or holes, but I'm not a big like 2 and 3 and 4 deployment style either, because it's hard to get a detent tuned that way.
If you're going after multiple deployments.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. You can do 2 well, but you can't do more than 2 well, in my opinion.
And I've never been a fan of the top flipper, but it is one that pairs well with a traditional hole or a reverse flick.
I like a top flipper if it is a smaller knife or something like a more of the French style knives, like a David LeSpec or a Remy or something like that, where it's easy to reach, and that's the only method of deployment, unless you can get your thumb or your finger on the back for a reverse flick.
Would that be like a Pena for somebody who wasn't thinking custom?
Yeah. Okay, so this is just a generic Civivi, but it'd be similar to that, where you have just a minimal top flipper. And you wouldn't
That's the only way you'd go to roll it to open,
unless you can flick it off the back. And that would be, but this is kind of a smaller knife, so it's easy just to hold on to, get your thumb up there and up top. So that to me is something I'm okay with top flippers for, but not. I don't typically use top flippers for most of the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. But I guess you have to, because that's one of the interesting things that Kaiser did with this little area, and it's a design collaboration between Munko, I think, and Jonathan Stiles. I could have the guys mixed up, but they only have that one type of deployment. So you've either got the slow roll, the thumb hole. I mean, they don't have a flipper or a top flipper. You've got the hole, and that's all you got.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that, especially if it's done well. So like the Sabertooth, that's top flipper and hole. I typically will go for hole on that one because the top flipper, this is being a little bit bigger of a knife. I mean, you can do it, but it's a little bit more of a reach, and I would rather
just go for the hole.
Yeah, personally. Another reason why I like the smaller top flippers is so you can do the rollover from the top with your finger.
See, I cut myself early on in the game doing that. I'm not a big fan of that maneuver. What's the other model of that one called? It's either smaller or a little larger.
Smaller is the Wolverine.
The Wolverine.
And see this, the Rosalinda, you can top flip too, but there's no jimping or anything. It's literally just that little nub. You can grab it, but it's not easy to grab.
But it's so well as that's Laconica, right?
Yeah, but the only reason why that's doable is because it's a lighter detent. If that was a strong detent, there's no way you could snag off that.
Is that one that you've adjusted, or the way that it was just adjusted?
No, they typically come. The Rosalindas come a little lighter. I've actually adjusted that stronger. But
Said Stevie, I agree. I'm a fan of the Riverlock. The one that I'm least a fan of, and it has nothing to do with Kunwu, because I'm, unlike some others in the chat, love Kunwu. I love their frame locks. I think they have one of the best frame locks in the game, and I think they have one of the worst bar locks.
Oh, it's
and
horrible.
I've had that conversation with them. You know, they have two exact same knives. One's with the X, they call it the X lock, and one's without, and it's just night and day. The Pulsar is a perfect example.
Yeah, their bar locks are absolute garbage.
And their frame locks are so good. And
as far as detent wise, not now.
The smoothness, there's a whole nother side, because that's what I think about. You and I are talking about the same thing with detent, but if I was a new knife user, there's a lot of advantage of being able just to open that thing up by holding it, right? And having it be smooth and close smoothly.
That's why I think top flippers are better for people than anything else. Because just about anybody can operate a top flipper. It's a lot less manipulation than thumb studs, reverse flicking, any of that kind of stuff.
I think single action, I mean, I only do it with like my mom and my brother, try to get them on a one-handed thought pattern. We've always kind of been that way. I think they're always looking for two fingers to open a knife. It makes my mom nervous when she sees me playing with knives.
Most of the time, people who aren't into it, they grab it like a slip joint, open it that way.
Yeah, well, it's the safest way. It locks open, it closes.
Yep.
You open it, you cut with it. Why do you need to do it? And in all truth, you really don't need to do anything more fancy with it than that.
Yep.
And that's why I think the Chris Reeves is such a great knife, because it feels so good not doing those clicky, fancy things, fidgety things. It's a non-fidgeter's dream. What's up, Mind to Milton?
How we doing, buddy?
MOK Ranger. I'm good, dude.
No, I was talking to Milton, sorry. But I already asked how you're doing.
No, I'm living the dream. I'm just up here in the dark, waiting for Tippy to come jump on the soundboard. She must have gone to sleep. Nope. Normally sleep, so she's got the wiles going on somewhere.
Yeah, so so for me, ABW, I like the fact that this, I didn't need the V7 for it to come out to have studs. I like the top flipper for this. To me, that works great. I don't need.
Show that into the, so that's got,
these are,
it's just got your regular flipper.
Yeah.
So you're saying you don't need studs even on that knife?
Yeah, this is the V6. The V7 has studs and a flipper, but I'm cool with just a flipper on that knife. And then you could be a freak like Stevie, where like I can't get any purchase on that on the blade, but he can flick his out from the back. I can't get any purchase on that at all.
Well, he's used to it. He's got that finger mate.
Yeah, I don't know how he grabs it, because my finger just slides off of it. But,
it's touch, baby. It's touch. Speaking of touch, I gotta find some laid back music. For me, not y'all. That's a gorgeous knife. And I think Michael Martin's a fantastic human being.
A flipper, if it's a sleek design and it's got most of the blade inside the handle, I don't need it to be multiple options. And sometimes I like them where they're actually sitting inside of the handle, the majority of it, and not,
Like more of the blade sitting into the handle, like a gentleman's.
Like that, like the Rosalinda. I mean, 90% of that blade sitting inside of the handle. It doesn't need.
That's the design aesthetic of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Again, sleek, slim, Laconigo style.
Somebody asked earlier if the Aurelius had started arriving this week, and I'm sure they have. That's a beautiful knife. I think that's one of the most gorgeous knives.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, Stevie. I think it's cool that you have the room for one. I don't mind the flipper on it. But I still don't know. You have to tell me someday how you flick it off that back, because I have no idea. That still boggles my mind.
Does it have the steps from the
No.
milling?
Mine doesn't. Mine's. I mean, you can see where it was milled, but not to the point where there's no tactile feel there. It's completely slick.
Like my Lamia, I do not have to be in the hole to flip it. And like that Kaiser, not Kaiser. Yeah, it is. It's a Concept bulldozer. You know the knife I'm talking about. I traded Dark Gravity for that. That's a top flipper knife, but it's PVD coated, and I can reverse flick it just by getting the meat of my finger on the blade. It doesn't have a cutout or anything for it. It's just got a big enough blade to where if you grab the clip and you know you're not going to throw it across the room, you can flick it.
Yeah, get enough traction off of it.
You can. I mean, you can fail it. And it all goes back to when I've got a knife in my pocket, I'm not looking for it to come out of my pocket and fail 30% of the time. You know, right. I'm looking for it to cut. And that's usually open a bag of cat food or something stupid, you know, an Amazon package. Speaking of, dude, my lawnmower is running like a champ.
I mowed mine tonight. It's pretty good.
I still got half of it to mow, half the grass to mow. I'm talking about the actual mower itself. That was a day and a half for me. Because I tried to rebuild the carburetor before I replaced it. Even though I had the replacement had come in from Amazon. I was making sure that, you know, I'd done everything with the old carburetor, and I knew how to install or how to uninstall the old carburetor and install with those two little push pins or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like was going to be the biggest hurdle in my getting it done Sunday. And dude, Sunday I was sitting there blowing smoke. That thing was purring like it should. I cut about half the grass, got sweaty, and said, screw this. I thought my landscaper was coming by, but he ghosted me. I didn't want to have the whole front cut and come by and go, oh, I was here to do your yard. I missed that one, though.
I had a little bit of issues with mine recently. It started sputtering again. I don't know why. But
99% of the time, it's going to be in the fuel, right?
Yeah, but I just ran out recently and added some additive to it, so it should be good to go. I'm not sure what's going on with it, but it's not
usually
it's not where it's unusable. It's just not running as smooth as I'd like it to.
Is it an auto choke?
Yeah, it's only like 2 years old.
Yeah, see, for me, I can get by with little things that aren't doing exactly like they should, and I really need to clean out my deck a lot more regularly than I do.
Yeah, that can make a difference for sure.
Oh, it makes a huge difference.
I don't know if you've seen where they actually have.
Paul's exactly right.
Yeah, yours. I think yours is similar to mine. Does yours have that vortex intake on the front?
It is a 6.3 cc recycler.
Yeah, from Toro.
It's a Toro, but it's a Briggs and Stratton engine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's basically the same one that I've got. I've got that same engine on mine. So, but on mine, it has that in the front. It's got that air intake that they call it the vortex air intake. So when you wash it out, because I had a Honda before, and it actually had a water nozzle that you hooked up your hose to on top of it, and it would actually clean the underside out. This one, they say you're actually supposed to spray the water in front of the front tires while it is turned on, and that air intake will suck the water in and clean out underneath.
Really?
It doesn't do a very good job doing that. I end up just turning it on the side and cleaning it out.
But that's yeah, because mine's just got the little thing that you would think you would just screw the hose in there and turn it on.
See, mine doesn't have that.
But I still wouldn't think to have it running when I did that, which is stupid. You probably should have it running when you're running the water through there, right?
Well, I know on that. What's up, Pedro? What's up, buddy? Yeah, Bama, for sure. On the gas, but it is.
And Paul, I found the gas station in my neighborhood that sells the gas that all the landscapers get. It comes out of a special pump, and I only get that gas now. And that was hosing me. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Kyle.
No, you're good.
But I was getting the regular, gas from the gas station that I would put in my car, put it in my. I was using gas stabilizer for my lawnmower, but it wasn't what I needed to be using at all.
Yeah, I've always run either ethanol free or premium.
Well, it just makes sense. I mean, you want it to run. You want it to run when you want it to run. Because I'll tell you, waiting too long. I've really thought about going out and just trying to. If I could rent billy goats, I would rent a couple of billy goats. If I could get somebody to come haul them off. And let them go eat somebody else's yard after they ate mine.
And then go ram their heads against that truck next to the bamboo people.
I'm kind of a goat fan, dude. I'm liking the little goats. They've started to fill my timeline up with my little baby Tiger Woods and my baby Theo Vaughns.
I've been all over the place lately with my algorithm.
I'm seeing a lot of alligators and panthers, I think in the Everglades, eating each other, which is pretty wild.
I haven't been watching that. I've been watching more of golf entertainment stuff and some random woodworking and metalworking and stuff. So,
see what my random feed's showing me today. Let me go over to my Yvonne's knife flip. You guys can get an insight into my wacky feed, which is where I pause and click on tips. What I've noticed is I'll see knives for like the first 20 or 30 posts.
Oh, you're talking Instagram. I was talking YouTube.
No, see, YouTube, my YouTube is off the chain. You know what my YouTube's like.
I'm horrible with Instagram. Like, if it's not in like the first 2 or 3 posts, I never see it because I don't scroll.
See, I'm a scroller, and I'll go down here. That's what. See, I love that knife. That's Jacob Creates. That's actually a B Shady post. That knife is so gorgeous. Whoops.
I just don't take the time to scroll through all this shit.
I do, because if I just start scrolling, I'll see knives for a while, and then I'll get down to like weird animals and stuff. Cole takes such good pictures, but that's a picture of that knife with the enlarged hole. So if we went to YouTube, I've got very few knife things. In my feed, are y'all seeing it?
Yep.
Embarrassing,
What's
isn't
up,
it?
Hot Car?
Getting a lot of Jared videos, suggested a lot of Jared videos. And they're typically older ones. But yeah, algorithms are a trip. Rip
Yeah.
Ozzy. Blizzard of Oz was my first experience to Ozzy, even before Black Sabbath.
I know this is probably bad, but I was never a fan.
That's not bad. That's just you're telling your truth, dude.
I just meant as far as being today, but I guess I've never been a fan. But it's sad to see how downhill he went.
Well, I think some of it was probably, I think the same Neil Peart, or however you pronounce his last name. I think he was the greatest drummer that ever lived. But I think that whole 40th anniversary tour, I think he knew that was his last tour. And I think Ozzy knew that concert 2 weekends ago, whenever it was kind of his swan song. And I wonder if his family and they were all kind of knew that his time was kind of near, hospice or whatever the case may be. I don't know.
Yeah, but they've been talking about that with Ozzy for 20 plus years, that it was almost his last days.
Well, true.
I mean, he was on that show, but with his family, and he looked horrible, and that was 2 decades ago.
Yeah, the Osbournes.
Yeah, I mean, he was stumbling around, couldn't speak then.
Yeah, and I think, what did he suffer from in the later years? And I know it was all brought on by his.
I mean, it was self-induced.
Yeah, but he was dealing with, what's it? The same thing Michael J. Fox has for a different reason, I guess.
Parkinson's?
Yes, he had, Ozzy Osbourne had Parkinson's.
I did not know that.
Yes, that might have been a contributing factor to his demise, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I saw the worst memes, and this is long before Ozzy's passing, but it's Keith Richards sitting at a table with his 2 daughters that are models. They're gorgeous. And he's laughing. They're all 3 laughing. And the meme is deciding, which ones they're going to leave their dad, who's going to leave their money to their dad. Because he looks just as healthy as they do. And Keith Richards should have been dead generations ago.
It's amazing how some of those guys last as long as they did with how much they put their bodies through.
Well, a lot of it's genetics, you got to think too, I mean,
some of it, but some of that torture they put themselves through is just.
It's unheard of. People that we idolize don't ever get through it. And then you see people that are still kicking with stories of recovering from that kind of same shit, even though it's a different time. I look at somebody like Clapton or Jimmy Page, who are in the throes of addiction, compared with somebody like Lane Staley or Andrew Wood from Mother Love Bone, who didn't get a chance.
Yeah.
For whatever reason,
Everything happens for a reason, whether we know why or not.
That's a fact, dude.
It just does.
And I can tell you, I would have never made it famous in any field. I have too self-destructive of a personality that if I was going through that at younger ages, under 50, I would not have fared well.
Yeah.
Ozzy was the man for sure. I mean, he was a family man. He was a lot of good things about that dude.
Another person I was never necessarily a fan of, but the more you get to know about him, he's actually a pretty cool dude, was Alice Cooper.
Absolutely. And what he does, or is he still alive? Alice is still alive, isn't he?
Yeah.
His charitable.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he does a lot for golf, doesn't he?
He has, yeah. But it's funny how some people you don't necessarily think would be like don't mix scenes. Like, you know, his onstage persona versus like what he's like outside is totally different, and it's kind of cool to see how people can cross different paths.
Absolutely, how they've got literally a persona that they have to keep up to keep the machine and all the people employed.
Yeah. I think I told you before. So the one course I was at, we held for 2 years in a row, they have like a celebrity tour that goes across the country and they play different courses. And we held the celebrity tour for 2 years in the area. We held an LPGA event prior to that. And you get to meet some very interesting cats. And typically, the bigger names they are, the cooler they are to deal with.
Really?
Oh yeah. The ones that are the most pretentious and a pain in the ass are the ones that are small time, and, you know, they hold on to that being called a celebrity and think that they're special.
They're coming out of college or wherever they were.
Well, not even that. Just, I mean, even retired ones, but they were never like huge. Like, except there are a few exceptions. I mean, like I've met several times and hung out with Johnny Bench and Mike Schmidt, and both of them are assholes. They can go to hell.
Those are heroes.
But like one of the coolest people I ever hung out. Yeah, one of the coolest ones ever was Barkley, dude. You can sit around and shoot the shit with Chuck, and he is downright hilarious. He is a fun individual to be around.
Dude, I had a psychology class with him. He never came, but we were scheduled in the same class in '83. He was. They'd call his name in class, and he'd never be there. Charles Barkley.
He needed a ride back to the hotel. He missed the shuttle, and this was back before, you know, Uber and all that shit.
Because he was a big gambler too, right?
Oh, huge. And I ended up taking him back, and it was funny because he ended up getting into it with the hotel bar.
Absolutely.
He'd went there the night before, grabbed a drink, and then went up to his room, and no big deal. Well, he went there the next night and was turned away, said they wouldn't serve him because they had a party going on. Well, there was a small party on the other side, and like he's like, I just want to sit in this corner over here by myself, have a drink, and I'm going upstairs. And they're like, no. Like, the bartender's like, I'm not going to serve you. I can't. It's private. He's like, dude, I'm not going to, like, I tipped the bartender $100 last night for one drink. Just give me a drink and let me sit in the corner. And he's like, no, can't do it. He's like, look, I'm not trying to be a jerk. He goes, or the bartender told me, he goes, well, I don't want you going over there disturbing them. He looks at me and goes, I'm not going to disturb them. They're probably going to disturb me. And he goes, I'll go upstairs to my room, grab my checkbook, come down here and buy this bar and fire your ass if you don't give me a drink right now.
Who was it?
It was just some bartender there.
I mean, who was the guy that he was talking to, though? Who was the customer?
That was Chuck.
Oh, Chuck, I got you. Barkley.
Yeah.
That's so funny, dude.
Yeah. Dude, he's an absolute trip. He's funny as all get out. Trying to think who else. Cool ones that you got to meet that you wouldn't have thought were like Pete Weber, the bowler. He is an absolute firecracker, and he's hilarious. Darius Rucker was cool.
I met him when he was with Hootie and the Blowfish, long before he was Darius Rucker.
Yeah, this was
86 or 87. I carried his amp.
I may or may not have got a contact high off of him, and he was cool. The drummer from No Doubt, I know that's Stevie hates them because of Jason Brown, but
Gwen Stefani.
Yes, but her drummer Adrian, that dude was cool. He was super nice. But yeah, like typically the mid-level guys are just jerks. Trying to think who else was cool. We had a good time with Jim McMahon was so. Ron Harper was cool. Scottie Pippen was cool.
The only guy I met he was doing a fundraiser was John Daly. He was doing a fundraiser for getting veterans back to Washington or whatever. It was a veterans flight thing he did every year. And he came to our country club and was just as nice as he could be.
Yeah.
I don't know how he was drinking the whole time, but he was very personable. He wasn't sloppy.
That's cool,
Rob. When he traveled around with his merch too.
Yeah, but it's funny how, like, again, there was a couple basketball players that, like, played in the NBA, but you'd never really heard of them, like, or they were only there for a couple of years, and like those guys are the most pretentious. And like one guy tried to stick me for money because he had ended up breaking his club, and I went and had it. He was kind of being particular about it, so I went and had another shop fix it for it so he could have it the next day for the tournament. And he tried to not pay me. We ended up having to go to the tour director, and they paid me and went after him for it. I'm like, what are you going to stiff somebody like that for?
Because he was just using privilege.
I'm like, kiss my ass.
And you went out of your way to get him something to use the next day.
Yeah. And he got a super specific request too. It wasn't like he was just being like, oh, just do whatever you can. No, he was like, I need this, 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 and this, and this. It's like, okay.
You learn a lot about people like that, don't you?
One of the other cool dudes that we got to hang out with a lot and got to know was Dan Patrick. Remember Dan from ESPN?
No, but I think of Danica. I know that's not the same one.
Yeah, no, Dan Patrick was the main sportscast guy for years on ESPN.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he was
talking head for lack of better terms.
And he's had a show and a radio show syndicated and podcast for years, but that dude was super, super nice. Very cool. But
yeah, it's rare to meet people that, like you say, are what you would hope they would be.
Well, my first year at that place was the last year that they held the LPGA. And on Friday, we ended up having a rain out. It just completely, stormed all day and you couldn't play. So
people just hang around the clubhouse or wherever?
Well, they did for a while. And then when they finally decided to call it, there's no way. They just canceled play for the day and left. And so the whole place was closed, so we didn't have anything to do. But we ended up leaving, and there was a group of them that wanted to go hang out. So we ended up going. It was about like me and two other pros there, and then about 5 or 6 of the LPGA players all went to the B-dubs and just sat there and had wings and beer and just sit there and hung out and chatted for 3 hours. They were cool.
And they turned out to be probably world-class players.
Well, yeah, the one of them was Kari Webb, who was number 1 in the world at the time. And then Annika was there. She didn't go to lunch with us, but she was nice. But yeah, they were much more enjoyable to have around than the celebrities were.
That's kind of funny that you say that, because on a smaller, much smaller level, I think I said this last week that one of my biggest surprises was meeting Melissa Backwoods and how low key she is and how down to earth she is and how she's like engages in conversation for just small talk, right?
Yeah.
And then people we've known for years just don't really have that capacity or don't see that as a viable means of communication, maybe.
Well, it typically is like that too. And a lot of times the people that end up having the most money are the ones who flaunt it the least, and the ones that are just have a little bit or just enough to be where they can flash it are the most flashy. I knew that from just being from all the clubs I was at and stuff, that typically the ones that had it didn't show it off.
I think Paul's asking your. I know your career went a lot of years, but are you talking about playing, Paul?
Yeah. What do you need? What are you asking that, Paul? Because that's
He can expand on that or synthesize that down. Where did you place when you played? I think he's saying back when you were playing at your most competitively, we'll say, in Kyle's mind.
yeah. So I mean, like, the weird thing was probably my peak was when I was just getting ready, or just before I turned pro, and then it kind of went downhill from there because then you're not playing as much. You're just working so hard at it and working at the course that you're not being as competitive. But I was coming out of high school, I was a +4 handicap.
Damn.
And then
So for people who don't play golf, your par on an average course, just throw out a number.
72.
Okay, so a +4, you would go out there on a normal day, average and shoot
68.
68. Yeah, I mean, to me that's insane.
But then it changes. But then, you know, playing locally competitively, playing somewhat across the country competitively, but never making it. I never had the time, dedication, or anything to push it further. Just because, again, when you're working 60, 70 hours a week, and then trying to, that's in 6 days of work, and you're 1 day off, you're trying to go compete on tournaments, or take 2 days off and try to go compete in a out-of-state tournament or whatever. It makes it very, very difficult to have a game.
Oh, I can't even imagine being able to compete in the same arena when you're having to. Because I look at, and I know, regardless of the liking or disliking of the person, the amount of time it probably took Tiger Woods and the fall off that he experienced. You know, I know a lot of that was health and personal brought on, but
right.
And I'm sure a lot of that was the pressure and the sponsorships, and you don't have the same gusto to take it back to a Raptors game. You know, the Raptors aren't hungry.
I've got friends who've done the mini tours. I've taught guys that have played the mini tours. And actually, I know a guy who I played a lot of golf with, but I wouldn't call him necessarily a friend. He's on PGA Tour on and off, and that lifestyle is not for the week apart. It sounds silly, but the travel, the lifestyle is brutal.
Are you talking about a parent or for the person actually competing?
No. I'm talking about just the competing and grinding, and because a lot of times when you first go out there, people don't realize the amount of dedication and time it takes to maintain. It's not just getting good; it's maintaining that level, and then the travel, the the jet lag and all that kind of stuff going across.
And each course being the variables being different.
Yeah, preparation but then you got to look at your expenses, and that creates stress. And you're not, if you go to a tournament and you don't make a cut, you don't get paid at all. Whether you have to go there, you have your travel expense for you and your caddy. You have obviously your per diem, your hotels, all that kind of stuff. You have the entry to the tournament. People don't realize you still have to pay entry fees to tournaments, and they're not cheap.
And you're having to get your tour card and all this stuff.
A couple $1,000s for an entry fee. And then if you don't make it, I mean, if you go to a tournament and you don't make it for 1 week, you're out probably close to 10 grand.
And just to give people a thought of that, Kyle, how many places do you have people competing to make that turn or make that cut? I mean, it's a pretty drastic number.
Typically, you're going to have around 100 110 to 140, depends on the tournament, and only half of that make the cut. So half the guys that show up don't make a dime, and
They're spending money,
and they're out 10 grand. And then you're not also including, like, once you get into that level, you got nutritionalists, you got physio guys, you've got sports psychiatrists, you've got a manager, you've got a lot of expenses that people don't realize. And then you're still trying to take care of, whether you got a wife or kids at home or whatever else, and that's where the sponsors come in and try to help.
I try to think of Tiger Woods just on a grandiose level, how he would even hold it together.
That's different, because when you get to that kind of level, so when he signed
Still,
on,
you have to get to that level, right? I know he was given a lot because he earned a lot early.
He earned it, but my point is, not most of the guys that show up don't just get the big contract sponsor deals, and that's how it makes your life easier, because you can have bad streaks, you can have slumps, and not start freaking out, or you're going to lose your home.
Right.
The guys that are grinding to keep their card all the time are the ones that are struggling. But when he first signed with Nike, and this was back in 97, I think 98, right around there, he signed his first contract was 10 years, 250 million from Nike, which
That's
was
one sponsor,
which was unheard of. No athlete was making that right at that time. And
he was how old?
At that time, it'd been 22 probably.
Okay.
And 21, 22, something like that. And that sets him up for life at that point. He doesn't have to worry about anything. And then everything from there is gravy. But obviously you just compound that, and you just,
But I don't think he was ever looking, because he still had his mom and his dad in his life at that time. And I think he looked at it more. I'm trying to think when you would lose the competitive oomph. And I still don't think he's lost that.
He never did. No, his mentality is that of like what Kobe was. Just grind until you absolutely have nothing left. And that's kind of where he put his body in some jeopardy on some things. He had a lot of injuries, but they were also self-driven and caused. Like, he was doing stuff like, people don't realize the type of athlete that he was at his peak. I mean, unreal. Like, I would put him up against, pound for pound, probably almost any athlete in any sport. He was training full time, and when he wasn't playing with the Navy SEALs.
What up, man?
That dude, he's like 6'1" ish, little tiny waist, was putting up like 300 on the bench. I mean, like, he was a strong dude. Like, he was,
and he could extend his body. It just seemed supernatural.
And that's, I said, the physio and all that kind of stuff. But he had, paying trainers, all that kind of stuff, tons of money. That adds up, but that also helps. And yeah, for your common person, it doesn't make a difference. But when you get to a certain level, that little bit of edge, every little bit you push out, really makes a difference. And like, they don't test. Like, he was on TRT and all kinds of stuff for a while, and then I think after a couple of his knee surgeries and other things, he got kind of hooked on some pills and had some issues, and because he was trying to be able to play through injuries. And
Sure. Trying to keep up the performance that his public had basically expected, sponsors expected.
And that's the worst part, is because then he ended up getting, like I said, addicted to some of that stuff, and they try to keep it on the hush hush. But like, people don't realize when he was playing at, I have to go back and look at the year, but he was playing the Open at Pebble the year he won. He actually had a fractured, was it femur or tibia? He had
Is that one that he limps that they show him on each hole?
Yes. He was limping up the fairway, and I remember specifically on the par 5, 7 out of the right rough, he hits the shot and basically falls over because he's trying to hit the shot super hard out of the rough, and he ends up putting weight on his leg, and he's got a fracture in his leg. He played the entire week and won on a fractured leg. Like,
that's just pure willpower. I mean, to me, I can't even.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, Bama. That a lot of his hardcore training he was doing with those guys ended up he was pushing himself past the point of where not that he couldn't handle it, but he would do that and then try to go compete and then get an injury and then try to push through pain pills and everything else. And that just was not good. But,
and I would think just like when my daughter was a competitive swimmer, I mean, it's just inches, and there's so many people coming up that can have, they're not going to have the dominance that you have, but they're coming to sneak it from you at every chance they get.
Yeah, I mean, what he brought to the sport was like no other. And his streak that he had was better than anyone's. Now, is he the greatest of all time? Not in my mind. He's second. But he gave probably more in a short period of time than anybody.
But his story's not all the way over yet, is it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I've seen him recently, and he's not there anymore. I mean, he's still.
How old was because you're talking about Jack, right?
Yeah, Jack's number one.
And he was how old though? Because he was
46 when he won his last major.
Okay. For some reason, I thought he was. Well, I watched him do stuff when he was older.
Yeah, that was the '86 Masters, and that was the last major he ever won. And Tiger's 40. I think he's 48 now. I mean, he's only like a year and a half away from playing the senior tour.
Right, but you would just think that I guess he just doesn't have the inches or the mindset, because you would think with the ability and the training and the stuff that Jack Nicklaus didn't have in terms of conditioning.
But his body's so broke down. That's the problem, John. Like he can't keep up body-wise with the young group. And that just, that's part of it. That's what's so difficult about competing for so many years at a high levels. At some point, you're going to break down. And it's how long can you maintain that? And he pushed so hard for so long that there's no more. Yeah, Bama, 49.
December, yeah.
I knew he was close, late 40s.
He's a young pup. But yeah, man, I mean, like you say, hopefully he set himself up and he's in a happy place,
Yeah, his one yacht is worth like half a million. I'm sorry, excuse me, 500 million, $500 million.
Doesn't he still have like a lot of, probably not endorsements, but he's probably got a lot of stake and shit that he's acquired over the years?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, dude, there's no worries about money at all. It's fun seeing his son Charlie starting to get pretty good, and because I don't know,
he's got 2 children, right?
Yeah, a daughter and a son, Samantha and Charlie, and it's cool to see Sam, because if you remember correctly, in '97 when he won his first Masters, he runs off the green and hugs his dad, Eldrick, and both wearing red and all that kind of stuff, and now that his dad passed, and then when Tiger won the Masters, was it 2019, when he came back and went out of nowhere, and he comes off the green and Charlie's there because his dad had passed by then, and Charlie's there in a red shirt and jumps up and hugs him, and they start crying together. It was cool. But now Charlie's in high school now. He's a good player though too.
That's interesting. I wonder if Tiger wants him to continue chasing, or if he feels like he wants to do it.
His thing was he let him play, and if he wanted to compete, he compete.
Hey, Brant,
he wasn't going to push him like his dad pushed him, because, I mean, that's the bad part is he was pushed from the time he was 2-3 years old to be a phenom. He wasn't
sure.
He didn't have a childhood.
No, he was manufactured.
Yeah,
it was Mad Yako. Just another celestial lap around the sun, my brother.
Yeah,
I mean, he
gave up everything for that. So that's the thing that people really like. Oh, yeah, he's got all this stuff. Yeah, but he also gave up his entire youth and childhood and innocence because he was basically bred to be that phenomenal. I mean, granted, it was natural ability, but it was also you don't take a 3-year-old out and just make him, you don't take a 3-year-old out and just make him grind to go practice. You know what I mean?
True.
That's not normal.
No, somebody's got to be having some kind of expectation of them obtaining that greatness. A little kid doesn't think that on their own.
Yeah, he was on Johnny Carson before he was 5.
I remember that. Well, I mean, because that was because of Earl, right? Earl was putting him out there. Yeah, that's I used to say that because my dad and I used to get, and now I don't know that I was right. I don't think that I probably was, because I think there's probably more spiritual to it than I used to ever think. But I used to think, sold my soul for rock and roll was just, I spent my time doing things I should have been doing, focusing on family and things that really mattered when I was out learning to play guitar, chasing things that didn't matter. I always kind of thought it conceptualized that way. The older I get, I'm not that sure, but still, it's
There's always a trade-off. I mean, you can't. There's only so much time in a day. You can't dedicate it to everything, and that's what it comes down to. Some of these things, like when majority of the time, like nowadays, you can't be a multi-sport phenomenal athlete. You pick a lane, stick with it, because you dedicate everything to that. You go back 30, 40 years. There were a lot of people who played multiple sports. I mean,
yeah, both sides of the ball.
Right. Or even, but I'm talking, like your Bo Jacksons, your Jim Browns, like the people that were phenomenal. Could have played Deion Sanders for a while. You could have played professional anything, but they didn't have to pick because they were so gifted at that, and they weren't pushed into one direction. But now,
right.
These kids, by the time they're 13, 14, they're already getting offers from colleges because they start, when they're 7, 8 years old, they start ranking some of these kids in their sports.
But you're still up against your body breaking down, even at early ages. I mean, my buddy, who, rest his soul, passed away not too long ago, but he was like a high school phenom, right? He was going to, he had a lot of colleges looking at him, but blew out his knee, one of his last games, which kind of changed his trajectory. But I'm sure that does a lot of kids too.
Oh, 100%. But what my point is, it's sad that they're putting such an emphasis so young, because it's forcing these kids to choose one thing and only be happy doing one thing, because the parents want to, hey, this could be my payday, or hey, this could be their way for whatever, that they push them so hard to be so good so young, instead of letting them enjoy it and grow. And when it comes to what I was doing, I was late into it. Like I didn't play my first round until I was 14.
Because you wanted to.
Well, no, it was, I decided when I was going into high school, I wasn't going to play. I played select soccer growing up and traveled playing that in the fall. Well, I didn't, because I played sports year round, soccer, baseball, wrestling. And I decided I didn't want to play soccer going into high school. So I'm like, what am I going to do in the fall? I got to find something to do. So I'm like, I'll try out for the golf team. Never played before. And it was horrible. It was on the backup to the reserves. I wasn't even on JV. And by the end of the year, I was on the varsity, because I literally every day after practice, because I wasn't even good enough to go to play reserve matches. Like I was back up in case someone got sick. So I would go as soon as after school until it was dark outside, hitting balls and just practicing, getting better. By the time I was into that year, I was on varsity, and then sophomore year, I was number one man and never looked back.
But you wanted to do it because you wanted to do something in high school. You wanted to have an identity. It wasn't your parents pushing you towards it.
Correct. It was actually what drove me during that was my freshman year. Some of the other freshmen that tried out, we played other sports, and they were way better than me, and they were beating me. And some of the guys I didn't like, I was like, screw that. I don't want these guys beating me. So I'm just going to go out and grind and get better and figure this out. And yeah, from there on out, it was just off to the races. But it came natural, and it was also a lot of work too. And that's what.
But you put yourself through it, because I see a lot of myself in that. I mean, the identity in high school or lack thereof, and not being very competitive in a lot of the sports that my friends were doing, is why I kind of jumped into wrestling hard and heavy.
And that's, I started wrestling in junior high and continued that through. I got injured my sophomore year and just told the coach, I'm like, I can't risk my back, because golf was getting good and I was starting to get some notoriety. I'm like, I can't risk my back. And he was cool like that. He's like, yeah, no problem. He's like, every year he would try to get me to come join, but he would let me come train with the guys and all that kind of stuff. And I did that all the way through high school. He was always nice about that, but with no pressure to come play. But I ended up at that point when I got hurt sophomore year, that's when I said, that's it. I'm only playing one sport going forward, because I'm got a knack for it. I've got a gift, so to speak, and I'm getting better than I am in any other sport. And I got a better chance of making it at this than any other sport. So did that going forward. And then I would still play summer baseball with some of my guys that were on the team. I didn't play in high school, but I played summer ball with the same group, and we would travel and play that when I wasn't playing golf tournaments. So see,
I didn't have a lot of that. I had youth tennis that I was big into before school was kind of a sanctioned thing. And I had youth soccer that I was big into, and swimming that I was big into. But high school, I had really no identity until I was a freshman. And like I said, I was just a small guy who would fit into the singlet. And was lucky enough to be the throw dummy and started my freshman year because nobody else made weight at 98 pounds.
I was, wrestling was the one sport that didn't come natural to me. Like I struggled with that more than anything. I was growing up, I played select soccer, I played travel baseball. I actually made all-state baseball for a while. Played basketball on the traveling team, like pickup games, all that kind of stuff with, some pretty big names. But like, I never caught on to wrestling as much. I think that's why I liked it, because it was challenging. It was fun. But I got to the point where in high school, I wanted to just be really good at one thing, and I stuck with wrestling because it gave me the workout, and then golf, obviously. But that's why I continued to play baseball in the summer times with those guys, because I grew up playing, travel baseball with these guys.
But you had golf as your main thing.
Yeah, that was always the number one. But
see, for me, it was always either, and it was some book. I can't remember the book I read in freshman English that made me think I really need to do something, with myself. And wrestling was just kind of it, And once I got involved as a little guy who, like I said, fit in the singlet and made weight, and then started getting my ass kicked because I was on the starting team.
Yep.
I instantly wanted to get better.
It's amazing the difference too, going from like, this was back in the day, like we didn't, I know this is gonna sound bad, like I'm old or whatever, but like back then, like you'd work out a lot, but you didn't lift like hardcore weights when you were like in junior high or younger.
And no, you were doing dips and using your own weight.
Right. But then that jump from going to freshman, when they start putting you in the weight room, and it's like, oh, this is a whole different ball game. And you start going up against juniors and seniors who have been 3-4 years of weightlifting, and they're just chucking you around on that like a rag doll, and you're like, what the heck is going on here? It's totally different.
I wonder, looking back on that too, how many kids, because I never did anything outside of, I hyperextended my elbow and I was out for a while, but I never took any kind of drugs for pain or to make myself heal faster. But I wonder if I was competing with kids that were juicing or doing stuff because it was just natural to do that back then.
Well, I think I told you that story. That was the downfall of several of our guys, that our coach heavily promoted that, and they were like things that weren't supposed to happen. At 16-year-old, you're not supposed to have striations across your chest and veins popping like you do on certain things, and
Right.
140-pound guy maxing out his bench at over 300. Like, that stuff isn't supposed to naturally occur, right? And we had guys like that, and majority of the starting lineup was like that.
Of your wrestling team?
Yeah.
So yeah, that would set off flags, you would think, anywhere.
Yeah, but back then they didn't test.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, the only thing that they were very particular about, I mean, we didn't have a weight cut limit at the time.
Right.
But you did have 2 hours between weigh-in and your weight, and they did not care how much water weight or how much weight you put on between those 2 hours.
I mean, I've seen guys, one of our lightweight guys, Joe, and it's harder to cut weight the lighter you are.
Yeah, because you got to do it the next day if you win.
Right. But not only that, but the bad part is too how that affects your body. Like, there was Joe, he cut, like, I think he wrestled one
MG. That's a great blade.
Was it 112? I don't know. It was something right around there, 112, whatever it was.
Thank you, bud.
He had to cut like 7 pounds, and they put him in the sweats, the saran wrap sweatsuit, and he was running the halls of the it was for the holiday tournament, which was a big tournament. It was out of our college arena, and he was running that arena like crazy, to the point where he was so dehydrated he could barely stand up. He cut weight, and then they just literally put like 7 Big Macs in front of him and 2-gallon jugs of water. He was probably 120 by the time he actually hit the mats. And
it's so unhealthy to think about, dude.
Horrible. And then you got to turn and cut it again.
Well, I can remember every year, because for us, I was always on that. I didn't think making weight initially was the problem. It was keeping it down for 6 months or 4 months. But at the end of every state tournament, which was the end where most people, half the team was cutting weight, the other half were putting on weight because they were heavyweights who didn't care. We'd always go to Burger King afterwards, and he'd buy us our coach would get whatever we wanted to eat. And I mean, it was so disgusting because we all just load up on shit because we hadn't had food in so long, in copious amounts.
Yep. I got Kathleen. Not recently. I used to. Definitely have let that slide with some.
Grant, I'll shoot you a link. Hold on, buddy. Let me find
other reasons for that, but no, not like I used to. Should, but not like I used to.
Well, none of us will ever be like we used to be.
No, but I mean, I definitely have capability of, I should be doing more and I don't, and it's no one's fault but my own. And
I'm saying, brothers, we could all say that.
Yeah, but they get you kind of in a negative rut where you're like, man, this is what I used to be and I should be that way again. But then you think about how much it takes to get to that, and it's like, do I really want to do that or not? Or do I want to put that effort in? So,
Brand, I'm sending this to you, buddy. Just bear with me.
Yeah, we had it wasn't on our team, but we were playing, but we were at a tournament up near Cleveland, and there were some big powerhouse schools up there that I think the one was like 6th in the nation at the time. They were always Tyler may know them. Was it St. Ignatius and St. Ursula? I think. I can't remember if that was the name of the school. But anyways, there was a big D1 powerhouse school up there. I think that's who it was. And one of their guys cut a ton of weight, but I don't know if you remember this back in the day, Javon, a lot of times they'd feed you orange juice as a diuretic.
Oh, yeah.
And they fed him so much orange juice, it just rotted his stomach, and he went out on the mat and just couldn't control it anymore and just shat everywhere.
Oh, dude, that's hard. See,
And that's horrible to do to a kid.
well, you say that, and my mom, I love her to death. She's awesome, but she always helped me maintain weight. And back then, everybody was on the Dolly Parton diet, which was a fruit diet, right? Or you were on the Atkins diet, which I put my body in ketosis many times, just doing protein. And my mom thought she was doing the right thing. But, you know, I look back on it. Our coaches wouldn't take it to that extreme, but I don't know that anybody was looking out for the people that were really cutting weight. That's awesome, dude.
You want to know why I'm showing this? Is because John Benner, the creator of TDI, passed away today.
Is that gotta show that front again? Well, this Hinder inspired too for some reason. I don't
It's
know
a
why.
Hellfire, the Hellfire grind. This is the TDI, the Hellfire. Basically, this is like a self-defense like knife, basically, for anything. I don't want to cut you off. I'm sorry to cut y'all off, but
no, dude.
Basically, this is for your self-defense. Like if you are in a bad bind, basically, literally,
To buy yourself space.
you can like pull this out. It's literally locking. It locks in, but it's easy to release when you want it out. It's made by K-Bar. And I love this. This thing is like my favorite one to carry. When I go on my walks, this is like my favorite one to go for walks. Because I don't want to, carry something big. Hi guys.
Everybody's saying hey to you, buddy.
Hey everybody. Hey Rob.
And give me a second. I'm trying to find the
Neil, I'm not sending you a Hinder.
How's it been going, Brant? You doing good, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Just, found out the sad news about Ozzy.
Yeah, dude, that's I don't know the specifics, but the timing of it does seem kind of.
Well, I mean, he did his first, last, ever tour. Like what he did was, he did it one more time, and that was basically his farewell.
Exactly.
Like a lot of people think that was his farewell, to the point where, I'm dying. He had Parkinson's disease, and that's what he was saying. For me, but.
Yeah, I'm sure people close to him knew, what was going on.
Tyler, you're 100% right. That's who it was. It was Lakewood St. Edwards. I keep forgetting about those. But yeah, the Lakewood, their varsity team, Javon, was like number 6 in the country. And their JV team was like 14th in the country.
Really?
Yeah, wow. They were absolutely stacked. We went to the tournament, and they had it wasn't the tournament up there. It was up at Sydney, and they sent their team, and they beat everyone by like 150 points. It was like second place was behind them, right? And that we come to find out that was our JV team.
So that's insane, dude. I mean,
they were unfreaking real. Like I've never seen anyone that fundamentally sound outside of, like I told you, I used to go to the Jordan camps, Jim and Jeff Jordan.
Right.
And they had a powerhouse, but they were like D5 or 6 called, and there was Graham. They won every year too, but they were, a small school that basically sent kids there specifically for that. But yeah, at Lakewood St. Edwards was like they won like 7 or 8 out of 10 years in the 90s and early 2000s for wrestling. They were just
wild.
Yeah, they were unfreaking believable.
It's weird. I lost so much touch with it because UT, I was being recruited. UT dropped their system, thank goodness, because I was being recruited as kind of a 121 pounder. I think it was 123 in college, and it wasn't my natural weight, but it didn't work out. And once it got to be where I could have wrestled intramural or done stuff at Auburn, I was totally over it. I didn't follow it anymore.
Yeah.
It was just kind of, I stayed in shape, always kind of kept myself on the lighter side of things, I guess you'd say. I was always active.
I stayed. I followed it till probably I was 23-ish, maybe, because I had a couple kids at the time that worked for me that were in high school that were wrestlers, and so I would keep up with it a little bit, who was doing what, but not like they used to. But we've got there's a lot of good programs around here for that.
You put me on just to watch, and my YouTube feed gets more of it now, where I'll see these later matches that I wasn't even aware of. Yeah, that's something that Marco Scama and I don't know if you know Marcos.
Yeah.
But he's got a lot of history in the sport.
Yep.
As a bigger guy.
I loved watching Gabe Stevenson wrestle. That guy is just phenomenal. He's that guy I was talking about, the big heavyweight guy.
Yeah.
That, he'd win a match and he was wrestling heavyweight and he was all the way up there, like 275 or something like that, close to it. And he'd just sit there and do a backflip on the mat.
Yeah, I mean, the agility of some of those
athlete. Just a freak athlete.
Yeah, I mean, and commanded it too.
Yep.
Do those guys, does their career take them into MMA much now?
Some of the guys go that route. A guy I wrestled high school with was doing that. He went straight from that. He ended up not wrestling in college and went to Tough Man's and MMA and started his career doing that.
God, that seems like a hard way to do it.
Yeah, but back then there wasn't nearly as much technical, so they could get away with being more of just a fighter and a basic
ground and pound,
a basic grappler. Than now it's so technical with all the BJJ, jiu-jitsu, and all that kind of stuff that they can't get away with that with just solely a wrestling background. I mean, it's great to have that, but you don't have all the whole.
Yeah, somebody will disconnect your knee or choke you out.
Totally different.
If anybody's ever had this book, it is a good book. I mean, it's a good book.
What's that about?
It's about Ozzy's life, all throughout his childhood, his teen years.
Is it a Sharon book? Who wrote that?
Who?
Ozzy wrote this. It was all him.
Who's Ozzy?
Ozzy Osbourne.
Is that the guy who made the 940?
No, that's Warren Osborne.
Is that you related?
That was my first Grail, by the way.
Hello, Kyle. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Brant. How are you?
I'm doing great.
You didn't answer me. Are they related?
No.
No.
Yeah, his name was, before he was Ozzy, his name was John the Burglar. He was a turd burglar.
Sharon was the daughter of his manager, right? Because she came into his picture. She saw his potential early on.
If you listen to Under the Graveyard, it shares more of how they met.
Yeah, I don't listen to that stuff anymore as much, but
yeah. Well, I mean, it's just. I mean, for me, this is a good one. Of course, I mean, if you don't let your kids read this because it is profanity in there, but it's pretty good. And I'm on almost the second chapter of it. So yeah, it shows a lot of stuff, like pictures of his early years and his becoming, the famous with the glasses, his of all of this, literally, this is him when he was just a kid.
He got that crazy look, doesn't he?
Oh, he always did. Always did. His name was John Michael Osborne. That was his full name until he got the nickname Ozzy.
Another wacky British kid.
I'm Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah.
What was that?
Okay. I used
No,
to do
none
it.
of that. I'm gonna put you backstage.
No kidding.
We're gonna have to put a little rap on.
Oh man.
How are you making it, buddy?
What?
Kyle, I'm talking to you.
I
Are
didn't
you
hear what you
hanging in
said.
there?
Yeah,
I
I'm
said,
just,
how are you making it? I know it's late.
yeah, I'm starting to fade a little.
I was wondering, Kyle, your sharpening is pretty good. I mean, I actually traded that one Hinder that had your sharpening, and since then he loves that sharpening. He was like, "Man, who sharpened this?" I said, "My friend Kyle." He's like, "I need to get a hold of him." I said, "Well, I'll see if I can get Kyle to get you in touch with him."
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, he'll definitely hook him up.
And
Kyle,
it
you've
is.
got spots available now, don't you?
Yeah, I've got some coming in this week, but after that I should be free again. It's just hit and miss, but yeah, I mean, just have them get a hold of me and I can give them an idea when's a good time and not.
Is Instagram a good way for people to? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm bad about Instagram messaging, but
I check messages on there pretty regularly. So
on your clean work site,
yep. Or if they don't have Instagram, they can always email me. It's on my website that I use too. But
Did you guys know that I almost met Kyle?
where'd you almost meet Kyle? Kyle, I thought I had your stuff scrolling. That's your TS Prof stuff. Where's your other stuff? Hold on.
I don't know.
I'll find it.
So if not, I can grab and put it in.
No, I've got
Actually, MG, it was not ants. It was actually piss. It was actually ants and piss too. Yeah.
All right, that's just your TS Prof.
Brent, you say I got 24?
Yeah, with that. Yeah, with the regrind. Yeah.
Yeah, regrind's awesome, dude.
It just ruins it for me when I see regrinds.
It made
Even with the right grind, because you're a purist.
Full tie, buddy.
Yep. Full tie.
Dude, look how good that grind
Skinny
is.
too.
I just don't see the point of doing that. I just don't.
Because if I'm wanting, I want it to be a cutter and just.
I get it. I mean, people like doing regrinds. It makes it better for hollow grinds and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. I'm a purist. I mean, I like having, because when I want to trade it, they'll say, "Is it modified?" I'm like, no, it's all original.
See, I've got the same problem with my two Spartan Harseys. I've got those two Harseys that are. I thought I had you in here, Kyle.
There's nothing wrong with keeping it stock. I don't have a problem with that brand. I'm never going to say that it's bad to do that if you want to keep it that way.
No, I'm not saying it's bad. If you're nice, you do whatever you want. It's just.
But I like it the way I like it, and I want it to be slicey, so that's why I do it.
I get that.
And I got this one; it was already done, and this was done by a legit guy. It wasn't like it was done by BGM, who does great regrinds.
Yeah, I've got one of his regrinds still.
And my other one was done by Satu Dave.
Yeah.
That regrind.
Hey, what's up, Edward Cheeto?
Hey, Kyle, make you a you know how to go in and make a banner?
No, but what I'll do is I'll just post the link in chat. Let me grab it.
No, just look at the banner over there to the right under comments. You got banners.
Okay.
And then you just go click on banner and then click new.
Okay, let me grab the link.
And then just grab the link and drop it in there, and you can either make it be a steady banner that just sits still in the green or in the blue part, or you can have it scroll. But that way it'll always be there for people.
What are you talking about, Cheeto?
Okay, I just added it, and then we click on it, see if it pops up. There it goes.
And you can make, and if yep, that's exactly it.
Hey, I did the thing.
Yeah,
and if you want to go in and make it where it just stays, and you can still copy that and drop it in the chat because people can't click on that link. So if you've got it, still drop it in the chat.
I just did.
Oh, there you go.
And I'll pin it to the top. So
that has my email and on Instagram.
So now if anybody wants to get in touch with Captain Kyle, he's pinned to the top of the chat.
Oh, heck yeah.
Edward Cheeto Hands. MG, what is up, brother?
What's up, Cheeto?
Good to see everybody late night. It is now officially 12:11, so I'm well into my 59th year around the sun.
Absolutely not, Cheeto. Take that away.
Well, happy birthday, Javon.
Oh, thank you, dude. I got through it. I survived it.
Happy
Well,
birthday.
you did. And you know what? You're still here. You're still loving the knives. And
Hey, man, it's all about one day at a time.
yeah, also, it's all about the friendship that you make.
That is a fact, brother. So where'd you almost bump into Kyle? Where'd you almost meet him up?
Well, I was in Ohio one time, and I was going to, like, literally go where he was, and we were going to go there, but by the time we were literally, like, right on the interstate, I totally forgot that he lives on that one part. And then I literally, right when I was doing that, I was like, oh man, I was going to go see Kyle. And I'm like, dang it.
And you were already pointed away?
Yeah, I was so mad. I was like, and Kyle remembers it. He was like, you should have done that. You should have done that. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Didn't even give me time of day. Didn't think about it. Just kept driving by.
Well, I didn't think of it. I was literally like, after I saw your turn, I'm like, oh, dude, dang it. I was literally just, geez.
You know what? I hadn't seen tonight as Shane, but I knew he said he was probably going to go crash.
Yeah, he called me earlier today, and I tried to text him back, but never heard back from him, so I don't know if he crashed out or what. Cheeto, I'm okay, buddy.
Yeah, he's all right. I told Kyle a while back. I said if I ever see Kyle, I want to see him in Atlanta Blade Show because I'm going next year. I'm literally going next year.
You'll enjoy it, dude. There's a lot of people, and you just need to, the way I look at it is, Kathleen, exactly. Happy birthday to you, young lady.
When's Kathleen's birthday?
I think I don't want to quote it, but I think she's towards the end of July, but I could be wrong.
Well, either happy belated or happy early.
Yeah, happy belated or happy early.
Yeah, Javon, I'll be working at the Hinder booth. I think I will. I gotta ask Sam again if I can come help him.
Well, awesome, buddy. And what was weird about my whole Leo cancer thing is when I was a kid, and I don't know how this happened, but I was always given by my grandparents a little cancer logo because it was the 22nd, because my birthday's on the 22nd, and that was the cutoff date somehow between Cancer and Leo. And I don't know how the astrological calendars change, but if you look at it now and you go to July 22nd, I'm a Cancer, where I was back in the 70s, a Leo. Not that matters.
I'm a Taurus. I'm a May baby.
Leo. So I'm right on that cusp. So if let's see what I put into Google.
Never got into that.
Me neither. I'm a Cancer. People between June 21st and July 22nd. That's according to Wikipedia, but I promise you, it used to not be that way. 28th, Miss Kathleen. So happy early birthday.
Yeah, happy early birthday, Kathleen. Shane did not go live last night.
That was 2 nights ago. He went live.
He works at the shop Monday night and then came home.
Yeah, there was one night he went live. I don't get those when he goes mobile live. I don't get the notifications, but I think he did go live. Hold on.
Hey, Fred.
Let's see here.
I met Fred at Texas Blade Show.
What's up, Fred?
Did you give him an autograph?
I didn't even ask if he wanted one.
Hey, he's got some nice blades.
Yeah, he does.
You still
Yes, he
charging for
does.
photos, Brant?
No. I met let's see, I met what have I met? I have a whole thing of it. Like I met Mr. Eddie. I met Best Damn EDC. I've met quite a bit of people. Dan Kinman from Kinman Knives on here on YouTube.
You did the Texas Blade Show, right? A couple times.
Mm-hmm. I've done it. That was I think that was my 5th year going. So yeah, I'm probably gonna stop going there because since Hinder's not gonna be there anymore. So
Well, I found out this year that they're no longer doing the Nashville knife show. We had the Nashville Custom Knife Show, which was a result of the New York Custom Knife Show during COVID not being able to be held up there. They moved it to the Nashville Convention Center, and there was a large enough audience to sustain it for, I think, 3 or 4 years, to where they were actually calling it the Nashville Custom Knife Show. And I found out this year from 51 Productions that they didn't have the customer interest to have that show, which is a small show. My understanding is the makers were still interested.
They probably canceled Nashville because you complained so much about not getting your winnings.
For my Spartan.
Didn't you win 2 years in a row?
I won 2 years in a row. The first year I got my prize. The second year
I thought you did either year.
No. And it was the random prize going in that I won both years, which is amazing. The mistake was they published me the second year because I would have never known. And that's when I started trying to follow up with them, to see who was, actually fulfilling that part of the giveaway.
Holy crap, my patches are getting so full.
Yeah, it went back to New York, or I think it's in New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Which would be a great place to go to a show if I was familiar with that area.
Oh, Cat. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, nice, Stevie. He's going to the Pacific Northwest Custom.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I heard there's a lot of good people that go to that one. Kathleen, that was, he couldn't figure out how to just make a private live stream. So he ended up making one titled it private, and then just stayed backstage. That was him and we were going over his books, and I was trying to show him my screen. So
I just saw that on here. That's when I was just looking through his stuff.
Yeah,
I saw that too. I was like, you can always go to, it's called Google like chat. You can go on that and do it there.
Well, we were trying to, it's just easier to go through StreamYard, and we're trying to share screen, but he didn't figure out how to actually make it private down at the bottom, John. So he just put it as didn't publish it yet, but titled it private.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Good old Shane.
Yeah, you know how to go in and use StreamYard for lessons.
Yeah, but he set it up. Otherwise I would have done it. But yeah, it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't know how to do. For a couple of times I did the vertical lives from StreamYard. I never did them from my phone, and the amount of people that I was getting was insane in terms of more people. But it was just random people. So I like keeping my little small audience.
Nothing wrong with that.
Fred, what part of the world are you? Are you from that part of the country up there, buddy? I met you in Atlanta, but it was briefly.
You got to hold my Hinder.
Sorry about the confusion, Kathleen.
Who's the third person on the stream is Kyle Coonley Cleaning Works Sharpening.
Yep, Kyle there. Yeah, he never shows his face.
Cleaning work.
Even though he looks more like Phil from Pantera. That's all I'm
He's
saying.
pinned at the top of the chat.
My camera only works one way, face down.
Face down. He's our resident steel sharpening nerd guy, go-to guy, scapegoat. Usually Shane's here to
surprised
back
Kyle
him up,
didn't get
but
mad. I'm surprised, Kyle, you didn't get mad for me saying that.
I didn't even catch it. What'd you
You
say?
look like Phil from Pantera, this lead singer.
I don't know who that is.
Oh my gosh, you don't know who Pantera is?
I've heard of him, but I don't know what the lead singer looks like.
He's bald and he's got like a mean
nice,
look to him.
Fred.
Hold on, where's my phone? Never mind.
Grant, you've never seen me. How do you know what I look like?
You know, I've seen Kyle twice
I've seen him. I've
backstage,
seen
and
him.
I do not know if I would recognize Kyle if we bumped into each other. I think I would.
I was on my Facebook one time and I was just like, I saw recommendations and I saw Kyle on there and I was like, oh, okay, that's what he looks like.
Well, I don't have Facebook anymore, so if it is, that would be
really old.
I haven't been on there in a decade, so that
I haven't been on Facebook in forever.
Yeah,
I feel guilty every year on my birthday because Facebook blows up.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just never on there. I apologize
I'm on there
for
a
anybody on
lot.
Facebook.
I'm always on there.
I was on Facebook early on to track my daughter, and she learned quickly that I was there tracking her. And she bailed on me.
Well.
No, she really didn't. I've got her phone on Find My Phone, so I can find her anywhere, anytime. Nice. That's called making the most of your visit. Yeah, my daughter will turn. Hold on, I've got to do some math. She'll turn 25 in August.
Jeez. Youngin'.
If you were born in 99.
92.
So if you were born in August 11th, 99.
She'll be 26 this year.
She'll be 26 this year. That's what I thought. I was trying to do my math backwards. I am just north of, I'm about an hour and 45 minutes dead north of Birmingham. Right in the center of Huntsville. Party like it's 1999.
Heck
Back.
yeah. I was only, I think, let's see, probably, because I was born in 92, so I was, I think I was 8 around that time.
I was living in Vail, Colorado, playing music with another dude, living on Red Sandstone Road with about 7 Alabama students and another 5 Auburn students. Just living large.
Good luck now there.
Oh, no doubt, dude. I was only in Vail for 6 months and then moved from there to Boulder. I should have stayed in Boulder because I was, I was positioned where I needed to be in Boulder in 96, but I moved back to, or 94. I moved back to Tennessee before 96. Yeah, about 93 is when I should have sunk my heels into Boulder.
Well, I just meant that Vail's just almost untouchable now for cost of living and stuff.
Oh, I know.
It's unbearable.
Oh, I know. And back then it was still very much like that. Yeah. We were right across the interstate. Red Sandstone Road was, which now it's, I mean, very much luxury real estate. But at the time, they were just luxury condos up there.
I do want to ask you, Kyle, are you an Ohio fan?
Like as in Ohio State, yes. Ohio University, not really.
Like the Buckeyes?
Yeah, it's Ohio State, yes. Because there's 2. Ohio University, which is in Athens, and Ohio State, which
Yeah, there's two of them. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I have one question. Are you ready to get your butts kicked by the Longhorns soon?
I don't know. We whooped your ass last year.
I know. You know how hard it was for me to like freaking like cheer on what team because I like both teams. Like seriously,
Bama.
Red, we're close. Yeah, Shane and I are about an hour apart.
Bama, you guys might not even make it this year to the playoffs.
Isn't Saban talking about coming back, or is that all just hearsay?
If anything, you'd probably go NFL.
I would think so, but he failed in the NFL, kind of. But what would he have to gain at Alabama except a big check?
90% of the people fail in the NFL because they don't give them enough time to develop because there's no developing in the NFL. It's just win now or get out.
Can I show you something really cool, Kyle and John?
Yeah, if it's not cool, we'll just flush you.
Oh.
Keep your pants on.
No, I'm not telling you that crap. I'm just doing something that I never thought I would own, and it's one of the it's pretty cool. Like I got it for my birthday, and it was on the basically, you know how they do those like those little talk shows they do after the games, you know, with both helmets by the desk.
Yes.
This was on that. This was on that desk. Like I actually have one of the props from there, and he got to keep it and got to take it home. And it's a real helmet. It's a real deal.
Badass.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, it was the best birthday gift I ever had. And I love this thing.
So you're a Longhorns fan?
Big time Longhorns fan.
Yeah, I was an Alabama fan up until I went to Auburn, and then Bo converted me in Auburn, and a bunch of fungus in Auburn.
Tyler, I'm interested to see what they do with the quarterback this year, but that'll be the only. We lost a lot of good players, but we've always got so many good ones in waiting that it just matter who steps up. So
that's another thing I'm so far out of is collegiate sports. The news, I mean, those are two things that my AA sponsor told me to back away from.
I was real big for a while, but the last couple of years last year I watched, but I got kind of tired of the antics about 3 or 4 years ago, and then didn't watch for 2 or 3 years. I'm a big football fan, but I have a hard time watching the NFL anymore. It's just.
See, I can watch the NFL more because I don't have a vested interest like I do when I used to watch Auburn, especially when Auburn sucked. I would take it way too personally.
See, I got a diehard team NFL, but just they got so. I don't know. They're so out there with the way they do stuff anymore, and I hate the way that they treat the fans. And I don't know. I used to like going to games a lot, but I'd much rather if I'm going to do it, I just watch it on TV. I used to try to make the drive every year up to the stadium and at least watch 1 or 2 games, but it's not worth it now.
Yeah, since that's something I did maybe twice when I graduated from Auburn. It was never a draw, even though football for us was such a huge draw, for the time I was in school there. I think I was just so happy to get out with my freedom.
It's also weird that you guys don't have any professional teams, so it's like.
Yeah, I mean, we've got, I guess, Nashville and Atlanta.
Yeah.
But Alabama, you've got Alabama and Auburn, and if you look at the money that those two schools bring in sports, it's unbelievable. And what's wild is how well they're both doing in basketball.
Yeah.
It's a money game, man.
What's his name was God.
Bruce Pearl?
No, I know Bruce from Tennessee, but what was the little short guy from Alabama there for a while? It's a former player.
I'm waiting for somebody to throw it in the chat.
I can see him, but I can't think of his name. It was a point guard in the NBA. He was a coach there for a while. A couple of years back, they were doing pretty good.
Didn't Alabama have a good tournament just recently?
Yeah.
But has he been gone? I mean, there's so much politics that goes on in any of those programs.
Yeah. I'm a local college basketball fan. I'm not a Ohio State basketball fan. I just for football and wrestling. But I'm a UD basketball fan. We've done pretty well. We're always a solid program, but the last year like in 2020, so during the COVID year, we were actually number 2 in the country, and they canceled the tournament that year, if you remember correctly, March Madness.
Why? Because
during COVID, they wouldn't play the games.
I got you.
So they canceled March Madness, and we were number 2 in the country. We were going to have the number 1 seed in the tournament, and didn't even get to freaking go. It sucked. Which it was big for an A-10 school, but we always play the big teams well. Like we always play at Maui Invitational every year, or Atlanta's one of the big tournaments. And like this past year, I think we played 3 top 7 teams in the country in the tournament in the first 4 games. But then you get to the A-10 schedule and you just don't have as much credibility, I guess, when it comes to the points. So,
man, what's so wild that I don't think a lot of people think about, and I'm sure they might think about it, is how much disruption COVID caused for regular college students.
Oh, for sure. All students. I mean,
all students. It changed the way that school was conducted.
Yep.
Changed the way businesses did business. I mean, so it's kind of ironic or asinine to think it wouldn't change everything.
Javon, I got about 5 more minutes in me, probably.
We're out of here, dude. It is 12:30. Kyle, you got anything to say to these lovely people before you pass out?
No, have a good week, and we'll catch you this weekend.
Y'all come by and hang for Friday night plates.
I like hanging out. I like hanging with you guys.
Come back, Brant.
Good to see you, bud.
Yeah.
Guys, do me a favor. Look out for the guy or gal to your left. Look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. And always choose debate, not hate. Peace.